This is art. But so is this. Art is a kaleidoscope of perceptions, and the lives of artists are even more multifaceted. Recently, I watched the theatrical adaptation of Look Back by manga visionary Tatsuki Fujimoto. Hailed as one of the finest anime adaptations in recent years, Look Back was nothing short of a gut-punching experience. I'll admit, my knowledge of Fujimoto's work is pretty surface level, mostly shaped by the chaos and carnage of... So stepping into the theater expecting something similar, only to be met with... My initial reaction was, wait, someone cooked here. Look Back is brimming with themes, but at its core, it's a poignant exploration of the struggles that artists face on their journeys. Like other films such as Whiplash or Black Swan, it pulls back the curtain on the creative process and poses a haunting question. What if your greatest art is hiding behind your greatest fears? My name is Zelly, and this is how fears make masterpieces. Fujino and Kyomoto are both artists, but their journeys could not be more different. We are first introduced to Fujino, the star of her school's weekly manga in the paper. Fujino is used to praise.
This artwork is sick.
She is intelligent, athletic, but most of all, she's an artist. She is seen with a sense of unmatched poise as she's praised by her fellow students. However, her confidence is put to the test as she's asked to relieve a set of her panels to Kyomoto, a reclusive student whose social anxiety prevents her from attending class. She accepts. This gesture of goodwill is backhanded, as Fujino assumes that her art will undoubtedly outshine Kyomoto's. When the issue is published, Fujino's world collapses. Kyomoto's art is leagues ahead. It's refined and mature. For the first time, Fujino is faced with the painful realization that she's not as exceptional as she thought.
Seeing them next to each other, Fujino's strip looks kinda mid.
This marks the beginning of Fujino's first arc, grappling with imposter syndrome. She begins to question everything, from her talent, her worth, even her place in the world of art. The whispers of her classmates amplify her self-doubt. The once small classroom warps into a vast exam hall filled with hundreds of voices, all in praise of Kyomoto. Meanwhile, at the same exact time, Kyomoto has her own struggles. Her brilliance as an artist comes at a cost. Her crippling anxiety. Unable to attend school, she pours all of her time into honing her craft. Kyomoto remains frozen by her fear of change. Her fear traps her in a cycle of isolation, a common plight for creators afraid to take that first step out of their comfort zone. Kyomoto's fear of what can be prevents her from ever finding out what will. What's important to remember while dissecting this film is that these characters are merely representations of their unique struggles and fears. They are two halves that come together to represent artistic struggle that resides internally as well as externally. So how do we overcome our trepidation? Let's dive deeper into how our characters conquer their fears. Fujino and Kyomoto's relationship evolves throughout the film, showing how they overcome their fears together. Fujino wrestles with her fear of inadequacy and feeling outclassed by others, while Kyomoto struggles with the fear of change. Fujino's struggles begin just 10 minutes into the film. After Kyomoto's first entry into the school paper, Fujino's fears take a form that we've seen before: total obsession. Seasons come and go as she relentlessly works to surpass her one-sided rival, but her pursuit of perfection spirals into isolation and frustration. This unrelenting descent into obsession mirrors the journey of Andrew in Damien Chazelle's Whiplash. Both characters cut themselves off from anything unrelated to their goals, sacrificing relationships.
This is why I don't think that we should be together.
And causing those in their life to worry.
Mom and Dad don't bring it up, but they're legitimately worried about you. We all are.
All in a chase of an ever-elusive sense of worth. Their relentless efforts end in the same failure. Fujino fails to surpass Kyomoto for one final time.
I give up.
And Andrew crashes down violently due to the immense pressure that he's under.
Okay, look, why don't you just tell Fletcher that I'm coming, you motherfucker!
After facing devastating failures, both characters turn away from their passions. Fujino retreats into the simplicity of childhood, ice cream, sports, and the mundane rhythm of ordinary life. Andrew, on the other hand, picks up the pieces by leaving his father's house and finding solace in the quiet grind of a coffee shop. These two once burning souls who lived and breathed their crafts now exist in complete sobriety from the very things that define them. And yet, their path to resolution mirrors each other in poignant ways. As the school year ends, Fujino is tasked with delivering Kyomoto's diploma, marking the first step in a journey that will profoundly reshape her understanding of art and herself. When Fujino enters Kyomoto's eerily quiet home, she's overwhelmed by the sheer dedication on display. Mountains of sketchbooks line the walls, each one a silent testament to Kyomoto's relentless practice. Amidst the stillness, Fujino discovers an empty manga strip, a fragile spark that reignites her dormant passion. In a twist of fate, the panel slips under Kyomoto's door, prompting an emotional chase. Fujino tries to flee, but Kyomoto catches up to her and delivers a stunning revelation. She has always been Fujino's biggest fan. The one person Fujino believed had trampled her ambitions turned out to be her greatest supporter. This moment of clarity mirrors Andrew's arc in Whiplash, where the teacher who seemingly breaks him is also the one who pushes him towards his most transcendent performance. For both Fujino and Andrew, these pivotal revelations force them to confront the fears that have held them back: failure, inadequacy, and the vulnerability of striving for greatness. Fujino and Kyomoto decide to collaborate on a manga contest, unknowingly jump-starting their journey to heal and grow together. Similarly, Andrew's journey culminates in a triumphant yet harrowing performance where he embraces the very thing that devastated him, allowing him to reach the heights that he so desperately desired. Fujino and Kyomoto's partnership in the manga competition becomes the turning point. As they work tirelessly on their entry medal parade, Fujino's worries begin to fade. Together, they create something greater than either could achieve alone. Fujino learns to embrace her unique strengths as a storyteller, realizing that while her art might not rival others, her ability to create compelling worlds and characters sets her apart. She is able to shed this fear of imperfection and shortcoming through the realization that she doesn't have to be the best at everything. She doesn't have to be the sole recipient of praise or be able to triumph over every challenger. She just has to be herself and utilize her strengths and what makes her special to achieve great things without the need to vilify others as motivation. She overcomes the fear of inadequacy through the acceptance of her own shortcomings alongside a renewed confidence in her innate talents. In the end, this allowed her to become an even better artist through her charismatic leadership and boundless vision. This realization is crystallized during a poignant moment. On a bitterly cold winter night, Fujino and Kyomoto step into a convenience store, eager to find out who won the manga competition. Flipping through the vibrant, colorful pages of the latest shonen magazine, their eyes widen with excitement as they discover the announcement. They've won the competition they poured their hearts into. The air inside the convenience store buzzes with their joy. The grand prize, a total of 300,000 yen, roughly 2,000 USD, feels like more than just money. It's a symbol of their hard work and dedication. For Fujino, this moment serves as a satisfying conclusion to her current journey, while for Kyomoto, it marks the beginning of a new chapter filled with promise and possibility. Fujino offers to bring Kyomoto out for a day in the city. They eat crepes, watch a movie, go to the bookstore, and at the end of it, share a train ride back to their town. One of the best aspects of art is its ability to bring people together. All throughout the film, there's a visual motif of the two characters holding hands to signify their attachment towards each other. We first see this during the day trip in the city, Kyomoto's assumedly first time out with friends ever. Through their art, Kyomoto has now made a lifelong friend, someone who complements her weaknesses with strengths of her own. Their friendship allows Kyomoto to break out of her shell. She follows Fujino into the world, learning how to draw beaches from feeling the waves at her feet and mastering perspective by witnessing the scale of the Tokyo Tower. She is able to apply all of her experiences into her artwork, experiences that would have never come to fruition without Fujino to lead her there. More specifically, we see Kyomoto grow and flourish out of her timid, repressed state of being. She is ready to begin her own life, facing her own challenges and fighting her own battles. But in order to chase this new aspiration, she must overcome one final fear. Fujino's new series Shark Kick becomes serialized and Kyomoto drops the bomb. She cannot help her. She can't assist in Fujino's dreams because she has her own to pursue and fulfill. Kyomoto must confront Fujino about her desire to go to art school.
I want to go to an art college.
which means an unfathomable amount of human interaction, trials and tribulations, and the inability to revert back to her old ways. Fujino erupts, spewing acidic speech at her, trampling on her aspirations, becoming the very antagonist that attempted to sway her when she was a child. Through it all, Kyomoto holds firm, cementing the change that she has gone through. She is no longer stunted by fear.
I just wanna be a better artist.
This relationship dynamic is eerily reminiscent of Nina and her mother in Darren Aronofsky's Black Swan. This film is about Nina, a dancer who is given the lead role in the Broadway show Swan Lake. Nina is unable to master this role due to her timidness and inability to let go. This final conversation between Fujino and Kyomoto resembles the strained relationship between Nina and her own mother. Nina's mother, a failed artist, keeps her in a constant state of adolescence. She fills her room with childlike arrangements and has almost complete control of her autonomy and identity. Nina finally escapes from her mother's vice grip around her life, thus enabling her to fully let go and transcend into the Black Swan. Although Fujino and Kyomoto's relationship is nowhere near as abusive and traumatic as that of Nina and her own mother, both Nina and Kyomoto must break free from the invisible chains of those who desire to control them. Do you remember the hand-holding motif? Well, prior to this conversation, we see Kyomoto's grip finally and fully release from that of Fujino, signifying her detachment from Fujino's lead, but also from her fears that have held her back for so long. Fujino downplays this revelation, claiming that she can simply hire assistants in order to replace Kyomoto, the same way Nina's mother begins to stonewall her after finally breaking her chains.
Why don't you wake me up? I'm moving out.
This reaction from Fujino is really surprising. The volatility that she expresses is not a result of animosity or abusive control, but rather a verbal manifestation of Fujino's fears bubbling back up to the surface. Kyomoto is the sole reason why she started art again. She has been foundational to her own success, and without her, then who knows where she would have been. Fujino in that moment begins to spiral. She bargains with Kyomoto to maintain the status quo. Kyomoto holds firm, unwavering against Fujino's barrage of deterrence. She enrolls into art school and begins her studies to become a better artist. For Kyomoto, she has finally overcome her fears. Fujino begins the serialization for her manga Shark Kick. The claims that she can replace Kyomoto are easily dismissed.
But I don't think it's working out. Can we pivot to anyone else? I definitely need more assistance.
Despite being more than 10 volumes deep into her manga, she still struggles to find worthy assistants that can fill the crater of Kyomoto's absence. The two characters seemingly have everything that they could have wished for, but all good things must come to an end. As Fujino tirelessly slaves over her drawing tablet, her work is interrupted by breaking news on TV. Reports of an axe-wielding maniac at Kyomoto's school wring Fujino to her core. As she calls Kyomoto's phone that returns nothing but an endless ring, she clings to any semblance of hope. It proves to be in vain as she begins to receive an incoming call from her mother, confirming that Kyomoto was slain during the attack. Fujino struggles with the loss of her best friend. After the funeral, Fujino returns to Kyomoto's home, sketchbooks and art supplies still littered all throughout the house. As she continues towards her old room, she finds the original manga strip that served as the catalyst for their introduction. She completely breaks down. She's reminded of her influence on Kyomoto's life and begins to feel guilt for what happened. She goes on to say,
Kyomoto is dead. And it's all because of me.
As jarring as this scene is, I could not disagree more. It's not that without Fujino, Kyomoto wouldn't have died, but rather without Fujino's influence, Kyomoto would have never truly lived. As she struggles with grief, she finds a 4-panel manga strip drawn by Kyomoto at some point. The panels tell a story eerily reminiscent of the events that transpired. Fujino storms into Kyomoto's room and sees volumes of Shark Kick in abundance, posters on the wall, and an empty Shonen Jump survey that will never be filled. Fujino turns around and sees the very coat that she signed when they first met is still hung up on the door, a testament to how much Kyomoto truly admired her best friend. The story ends on a somber question. Why do you draw? Following the loss of Kyomoto, Fujino now must ask herself that question once again, and finally overcome the fear that has followed her for so long. At first, Fujino is consumed by a fierce drive to compete with Kyomoto, a rival whose art feels leagues ahead of her own. Everything changes after Kyomoto's tragic death. In revisiting their shared past, Fujino begins to see their connection in a new light. She realizes how deeply Kyomoto's artistry and encouragement had shaped her own creative journey. This realization shifts something within her. The insecurities that once festered inside dissipate. Her fear of inadequacy transforms into somber determination. She returns to work, taping Kyomoto's panels to the window to serve as an unending sense of purpose. Now having a new answer to the question, why do you draw? Look Back and other stories in the same vein all share one lesson. Beyond your fears lies the art that will define you, waiting patiently for your courage. Like Fujino, Kyomoto, Andrew, or Nina, you have the ability to overcome the hurdles that hold you back. You have the ability to become a great artist, chef, musician, entertainer, communicator, teacher, and everything in between. All that awaits is for you to take the first step. Keep your head held high, and most importantly, don't look back. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the video. If you're new here, consider subscribing if you like anime and film discussions just like these. If you're returning, I know that it's been a while, but hopefully this video marks a pivot for a much more consistent 2025. And before you leave, check out one of the 2 videos on screen right now. I promise that they are just as good. Thank you again so much for watching. My name is Zelly, and I'll see you next time.